Hey, what is up guys? Welcome to RB and Hardware. Today we're gonna take a look at the top 3 best gaming monitors in 2022 under $300. Now if you find any monitor you like, all displays are linked up down below. So right now there are tons of monitors to choose from, and the amount of sub $300 gaming displays available is quite staggering, which can make it quite difficult to know which specific one you should get. And so in today's video, I'm gonna do my best presenting the top monitors for your specific game and budget. Now, these 3 monitors we're about to look at are currently the best ones to consider right now below $300. We're gonna take a look at the best premium 1080p, the best budget 1080p pick, and the best budget 1440p alternative. Let's go ahead and take a look at the best premium 1080p monitor, the ViewSonic Omni XG2431. Right now we're seeing a nice price drop on this screen from $310 down to $280, and this $30 price drop makes it the cheapest and best performing monitor in its class right now. This is a 24-inch monitor with a 1080p IPS display with a 240Hz refresh rate. We find a response time of under 1 millisecond. And in terms of premium features, it got everything you can imagine, such as FreeSync Premium and G-Sync compatible. The stand allows for height, tilt, swivel and pivot, and in terms of ports, you find 2 HDMIs as well as a display port. Now all of these things are pretty much standard among all $300 monitors. What makes this display worth considering are essentially 2 things: response time and something called backlight strobing, thanks to advanced blur reduction features, which can be tuned and controlled via a utility on PC, transforms the IPS display into a super fast and snappy IPS display with minimal blur as a result. And so this is basically huge. But it gets even better because it tackles blur so good that it actually received the Blur Busters 2.0 certification, which is pretty impressive for an IPS display at this low price point. Now all of this sounds pretty good, right? But who is this monitor actually for? Well, you probably already guessed it, but first and foremost, it is for competitive gaming. So if you're into fast-paced FPS shooters like Valorant, CSGO, Overwatch and Apex Legends for example, and other competitive games such as Fortnite and Rocket League, you're not gonna go wrong with this particular monitor. Who is this monitor not for? Well, if you're into photography and content creation and you're spending lots of time color grading for example, because the color gamut and contrast ratio is a little bit weak, makes it not ideal for this specific work. For gaming specifically, nothing to worry about, but maybe not for color grading on a professional level. Overall though, if you're looking for the best 1080p screen for competitive gaming, this is by far the best monitor you can currently buy. Let's move on and talk about my top recommendation for 1080p on a budget, the AOC 24G2. As if you got a budget below $200 and you look for the best of the best in this category, you won't go wrong with the 24G2. This is simply the best and cheapest 1080p monitor on the market. This is a 23.8 IPS based 144Hz monitor with a 1 millisecond response time, so compared to the ViewSonic, it is a little bit slower but still enough, even for competitive gaming. It offers features such as FreeSync and G-Sync compatible, so even high demanding AAA titles will run nice and smooth with adaptive sync at lower frame rate. Now, when I tested this screen a couple of years ago, I fell in love completely. Whatever game you throw at this bad boy, gameplay looks sick. AOC has found a magic formula where everything feels balanced here, regardless if you're a hardcore gamer or looking for a screen with great image quality. you won't be disappointed here. And when you thought it couldn't get any better, it actually gets better. The stand is amazing. Now, like the previous monitor, it allows for height, tilt, swivel and pivot. And so in terms of ergonomics, nothing to complain about either. Currently selling for $170 makes it hands down the best budget gaming monitor you can get your hands on. Let's move on and talk about my third and final recommendation, the best 1440p monitor on a budget, the HP 27Q. As recording, the X27Q sits just below $300, but if we take a look at the price history, we see that it has been sitting for as low as $230 just a few months ago, and so I want you guys to have this in mind. I wouldn't be surprised if you see it fall down to $250 by the time you're watching this video. So what are you getting with this specific monitor? First and foremost, you're getting a quality 1440p IPS panel at 165Hz, and compared to the Gigabyte M27Q, which I have been recommending several times before, the HP actually uses a better sub-pixel layout, making things like text, for example, look far more clear compared to the M27Q from Gigabyte. Furthermore, in terms of response time, color performance, contrast and brightness, he also stays ahead of most other displays in this category as well. He offers a strong 400 nit peak brightness, so it is able to get more than bright enough even in well lit rooms. The monitor obviously also supports things like adaptive sync with FreeSync Premium and G-Sync compatible. Once again, we're looking at an IPS based display, so you can expect vibrant and punchy colors and superb viewing angles. Now, the trade-off you make with an IPS though is slightly less appealing black levels and contrast if you compare to, let's say, a VA panel type. However, it should be said we are talking pretty small differences here. And with all things considered, an IPS based panel type generally offers better response time with less blur and ghosting, which is something that I personally value a lot higher than anything else. This is a gaming monitor after all. Now to the million-dollar question, which out of these three screens should you pick? Well, it all comes down to what type of games you're planning on playing. Let's say you have a slightly older gaming PC and you're pretty new to PC gaming. Well, in that case, I would highly suggest the AOC 22G2. However, if you have a slightly more powerful machine and you want to take your gaming experience to the next level, well, in that case, the ViewSonic is your answer. And if you have an even more powerful PC and you want a slightly bigger screen than the 24 inches without having to sacrifice pixel density, well, in that case, the HP is your answer. Now, personally, I have been gaming on a 1080p 24-inch monitor for years, and nowadays I actually prefer bigger screens, and so therefore my pick would be the HP, and I would pick this monitor in a heartbeat. All monitor guides can be found linked up down below. Have any questions or suggestions? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video.